I'm standing in the airport security line at O'Hare. My phone buzzes. Email notification. My stomach drops when I see the sender. Maxwell, my boss. He's forwarded something to the entire team, but the forwarding got messed up. His actual private message appears, the one he meant to keep completely private. Let's bring in Tucker for this deal. Jasmine's gone for 2 weeks anyway. By the time she gets back, the relationship will be established. No need to have 2 points of contact complicating things. I read it 3 times. Then 4 times. My hands go cold in a way I can't explain. My palms start sweating. The people around me are moving forward in line, but I'm frozen. TSA agent asks if I need help. I shake my head. 2 weeks. I've earned those 2 weeks through 5 years of 70-hour weeks. Sleeping at the office. Missing dinners. Declining invitations. Holidays worked because the Mercer account never sleeps. I booked this vacation 6 months ago. My boss approved it himself, signed off in writing. My family has been counting down the days. And now, while I'm supposed to be at the beach in Miami with my family, checking out from my phone, disconnecting from work, he's replacing me on the Mercer deal. The biggest client relationship I've built in 5 years at this company. The Mercer account isn't just important. It's the foundation of my career here. It's my reputation. It's what people know me for. I've spent years building trust with Dorothy, their procurement director. Real trust. The kind where she asks for me by name. I know their systems inside and out. I know their pain points. I know what keeps them up at night. I know the names of their kids because Dorothy mentions them in emails. And he's giving it to Tucker, a junior account manager who barely knows how to format a proposal, who still asks me basic questions about our CRM system, who spelled the client's name wrong on an email last month. I don't respond to the email. I don't panic. I don't call Maxwell and demand an explanation. Instead, I just screenshot it. Then I screenshot the forwarding metadata showing the timestamp. Then I forward it to my personal email with a subject line. Evidence. My hands are still shaking as I go through security. But my mind is clear. My vacation is about to become something very different. I get back to the office on a Monday morning. It's exactly 2 weeks later. I walk through the lobby, badge still working, and head straight to the conference room for the weekly client meeting. There's Tucker sitting in my chair. Not a different chair in the room. My chair. The one that faces the Mercer client contact directly. The position of leadership. My boss Maxwell's smile doesn't waver when he sees me walk in. Just freezes for a millisecond. That tiny pause tells me everything I need to know. Jasmine, welcome back, he says with rehearsed smoothness. We've got Tucker integrated now, so the transition is seamless. Transition. He uses that word like I was being transferred to a new department. Like this was a planned, discussed, mutual decision. Like I wasn't blindsided while thousands of miles away, unable to defend myself. The Mercer client, Dorothy, looks at me with confusion that quickly shifts to concern. She's been working with me for 3 years. She trusts me. She knows my competence. She's heard me present solutions and close problems. And now I'm standing at the back of my own meeting, watching Tucker sit in my seat. I wasn't aware of any transition, I say quietly. My voice doesn't shake, but inside I'm burning. Maxwell moves forward quickly, cutting off any further discussion. We'll catch you up offline, Jasmine. For now, let's focus on the agenda. But I notice something crucial in that moment. Dorothy's eyes dart between Tucker and Maxwell. She's seen the hesitation. She's noticed the awkwardness. She's smart enough to know something is wrong here. The confidence Maxwell was trying to project just cracked. That small doubt, that moment of Dorothy recognizing something isn't right, might be the first crack in whatever Maxwell has planned. That night, at 11 p.m., I'm sitting in my apartment with a glass of wine I don't usually drink. I pull up the Mercer contract on my personal laptop. I review every single clause, every amendment we've negotiated, every tiny footnote I've spent months protecting and refining. Section 14b. The compliance clause. This is the heart of everything. I fought for this clause when Mercer wanted to speed up the funding process. They wanted faster verification timelines. Pushed back. I explained regulatory requirements. I suggested safeguards they didn't want to pay for. But I knew why those safeguards mattered. I knew what could happen if we skipped steps. Still there in the contract. The clause is intact. But I know something Tucker doesn't. Something Maxwell probably doesn't even understand. There's a compliance loophole hidden in subsection C. A small, technical gap in the verification language that, if someone isn't careful during implementation, could expose the entire deal to regulatory scrutiny. Could cost the company millions in fines. Could open us up to legal liability. I flagged it to Maxwell months ago. I showed him the risk. I explained the exposure in detail. He said he'd address it. He promised to work with legal. Looking at the contract now, at 11:47 p.m., I can see he never did. The loophole is still there. Untouched. Unprotected. It's a landmine nobody else knows exists. One fragile clause. One piece of institutional knowledge that lives only in my head. One thing only I was protecting. And now Tucker doesn't even know it exists. She probably doesn't even know to look for it. The deal is sitting on a foundation with a crack nobody else can see. And when pressure gets applied, when real scrutiny happens, that crack is going to split wide open. By Wednesday afternoon, I'm back in the client room. This time I'm sitting at the back. Watching. Dorothy asks a follow-up question about fund verification timelines. It's a technical question. Smart question. The kind of question that requires someone who understands the contract at a molecular level. Tucker hesitates. I can see her trying to remember what Maxwell might have told her. She looks to Maxwell for help. Maxwell jumps in immediately, talking over Tucker with unnecessary detail. He's covering for her. He's panicking because he knows Tucker doesn't have the answer. He knows this is his moment to prove he understands the deal. But he's over-explaining. He's adding details that weren't asked for. He's doing exactly what someone does when they're hiding the fact that their replacement doesn't actually understand the most important parts. I watched Dorothy's face carefully. She's a smart client. 15 years in procurement. She knows business. She can read people. She knows what's happening. Someone at this table doesn't have the depth of knowledge they should have about their own deal. After the meeting ends, Dorothy pulls me aside. We walk to the hallway together, away from the conference room. Is everything okay? She asks quietly. Her eyes search mine. With you, I mean. With your role here. This is the moment where I could tell her everything. I could explain the betrayal. I could position myself as the victim and rebuild her confidence in me. Instead, I choose my words carefully. Everything's fine, I say. Just focusing on other projects now. But I can see the worry in her eyes. The doubt is growing. She doesn't trust Tucker yet. And she doesn't believe Maxwell's smooth explanations. She's starting to wonder who actually knows what at this company. I spend Wednesday night and most of Thursday evening checking internal calendars and meeting logs. The ones I still have access to. The ones that show the truth. April 3rd. That's when my vacation started. My email auto-reply activated that morning. I'm out of the office until April 17th. For urgent matters, contact Maxwell. But Maxwell held a meeting with Mercer that day. April 3rd. I checked the calendar. And the day after, April 4th. Another meeting. Another strategic session without me. And the day after that, April 5th. Not one meeting. Not even two. But an entire series of meetings. Not transition meetings. Not handoff meetings. Strategy meetings. Deal-shaping meetings. The kind of meetings where you build relationships and establish authority. They planned this before I even left. Before they sent that email about integrating Tucker into the account. They went behind my back to develop their strategy while I was supposed to be unreachable, unable to defend my position or participate in decisions that affected my biggest client relationship. This wasn't opportunity. It wasn't a spontaneous decision to try something new. It was orchestration. Premeditated. Calculated. designed to erase me from the relationship before I even knew it was happening. The timeline proves it, shows it in black and white. They set out to replace me from day one. I request a formal meeting with HR. I schedule it for Monday morning. I'm professional about it. I bring documentation, printed emails, calendar screenshots, the forwarding evidence. I explain that I was replaced on a client account without any notice while I was on approved vacation. I explain that this happened without discussion with me, and that I have concrete evidence the plan predates my time off. Kevin from HR, who I've seen maybe 3 times in 5 years, nods thoughtfully. He takes notes. He offers his concern, his sympathy, his understanding. Then he says, "Let's let things settle and circle back." Circle back. Translation: we're not doing anything right now. Translation: we're hoping you forget about this. Translation: we're protecting the company, not you. I leave his office knowing that somewhere in this building, he's forwarding my complaint to someone. Probably to Maxwell himself. Probably to a legal team. I've just given them a heads up that there's a problem they need to manage. I've painted a target on my back. By Friday afternoon, I notice things have changed dramatically. I'm removed from the Mercer email thread. Without explanation. No email saying, "Transitioning you off this account." No conversation. Just gone. I check my access to the shared project drive. Limited. I can see the files exist, but I can't open them. I'm still employed. Still sitting at my desk. Still coming to the office. But I'm being isolated. The message is clear without anyone having to say it. Stop asking questions or there will be consequences. I watch from the edges now. I see emails go out in Slack channels. I see meeting calendars update in the system. I'm a ghost in my own company, watching from a place where I can see but not participate. They think isolation will break me, make me cry at my desk, make me quit and leave quietly without making a fuss. They have no idea what they've just activated. Dorothy emails me directly on Tuesday morning. Not through company email channels. Not a message she's copying Maxwell on. Through my personal email that she somehow has. Subject line: quick question on the compliance piece. She's asking me something she should be asking Tucker. Or Maxwell. But she's asking me. Because she doesn't trust them yet. Because she remembers who actually understands this deal. Who has protected her interests. Who knows what they're doing. She still remembers me. I draft a response that night. Detailed. Precise. Explaining the loophole in Section 14B. Explaining why it matters for her funding timeline. Explaining what Tucker and Maxwell don't seem to understand. My cursor hovers over send for 15 minutes. I can feel the pull to help. To prove myself. To show Dorothy that I'm still her person. To demonstrate that she made the right choice trusting me. Then I delete it. Every single word. If I answer this email, Maxwell finds out. He accesses the email account somehow, sees that I'm still helping the client. HR gets another complaint to file away and bury. I become the person creating problems, stepping outside my lane, overstepping boundaries. Instead, I reply with 3 words. Great question. Ask your account team. Silence becomes strategy. I've just shown Dorothy that I won't help them anymore. And I've made her wonder why not. I've planted doubt without saying a word. Maxwell calls me into his office on Wednesday. His smile is tight. His hands are on his desk. His posture is defensive. I've noticed you and Dorothy are in direct contact, he says carefully. His tone is controlled, but I can hear the edge underneath. I'd really appreciate if we kept client communication through proper channels going forward. I notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't deny being in contact with Dorothy while I was away. He doesn't explain the transition. He doesn't acknowledge that I have a right to be upset. He just wants me to stop. I'm not the one initiating contact, I reply calmly. She's reaching out to me. His jaw clenches. I can see him trying to control his response. Still, let's not confuse the client with multiple perspectives. The word hits me hard, confuse. As if my presence, my knowledge, my expertise would confuse things. As if having someone who actually understands the deal would create problems instead of solving them. He's afraid. Not of me personally. Of what I might tell Dorothy. Of what she might ask me. Of what I might reveal. He's afraid because he knows Section 14B is a problem. And he knows he hasn't fixed it. And he knows I know that he hasn't fixed it. The email arrives on Tuesday morning. It's from the compliance department. Documentation request. Mercer contract review. Please submit all files related to the Mercer deal, with particular attention to verification protocols and compliance certifications. Due Friday EOD. This is a routine regulatory check. Except it's not routine. Something happened. Someone at Mercer flagged something. Or someone internally did. Someone smart enough to know there's a problem. Maxwell sends a panicked message to the entire team. Please compile all files and send to my office. SAPI. This is priority. I watch the scramble unfold over the next 2 days. Files being gathered. Emails being searched. Systems being audited. But there's a problem. A major problem. The deepest analysis, the most detailed compliance review, the comprehensive documentation of that loophole and exactly how it should be addressed, that was all done by me. I wrote memos. I created spreadsheets. I documented every risk. And Maxwell never kept copies. He probably deleted my emails months ago when he realized I was inconvenient. Probably moved them to trash and emptied the folder. They can't find the documentation. And they know it exists because Dorothy's asking about it now. The compliance department is asking about it now. The thing that was supposed to protect them is gone. Emergency call scheduled. Tuesday afternoon. 3 p.m. Marked private. I'm not on the invite list. No one tells me about it. But I'm still logged into a shared Slack channel that the team uses for quick updates. When the meeting starts, I open the channel anyway. Sometimes call notes go there. Sometimes important updates get shared. Sometimes people forget to close access to channels when they're trying to exclude someone. I'm not supposed to be listening. But I listen. I hear Maxwell explaining the compliance gap to someone from legal. I hear him downplaying it. Minimizing it. Just a technical matter that Tucker can probably address. I hear him suggesting that this is a documentation issue, not a substantive problem. Tucker has never seen the problem. He doesn't even know what he's supposed to fix. He doesn't have the knowledge to address anything. This deal is about to fracture. And Maxwell is making it worse with every word. Dorothy sends a formal email to Maxwell on Thursday. Marked urgent. CC'd to their legal team. I flagged a material compliance risk with our legal team. We need immediate clarification on verification protocols before we can move forward with funding. This is blocking our investor approval. She's not asking anymore. She's not inquiring politely. She's escalating. She's bringing in lawyers. She's creating a paper trail. And the deal momentum stalls immediately. The entire timeline shifts. Investors start asking questions. Why is funding delayed? What's the holdup? When can we close? The pressure intensifies. The clock is ticking. Tucker finds me at my desk on Friday afternoon. She looks exhausted, defeated, like someone who's been drowning. I wasn't trained properly, she says quietly. She looks over her shoulder to make sure no one's listening. Your boss said you'd hand off everything to me before you left. But you never did. And now I'm sitting in meetings with the client pretending I understand what's happening, and I don't. I look at her with unexpected sympathy. She's not the villain here. She never was. I need help, she continues. I need to understand Section 14B. I need to understand what the risk actually is. And I need to understand it fast, because Dorothy and her legal team are asking me questions I can't answer. She's being set up to fail. And she knows it. She's a victim too. Compliance releases an internal memo on Friday afternoon. Detailed analysis of the Mercer contract. It cites the exact language I used months ago when I flagged the loophole. My warnings. My concerns. My professional analysis. All documented. all referenced. And then it says in bold, "This concern remains unaddressed." 2 sentences later, client has flagged regulatory exposure. We recommend immediate remediation of the verification gap or complete restructure of the deal terms. My warnings, ignored by Maxwell, have now become official legal liability. The document is dated 3 weeks after my vacation ended. 3 weeks that Maxwell spent pretending he was handling it, managing it, keeping it under control. He was never going to handle it. He just wanted me out of the way so he didn't have to hear about it anymore. The board requests a comprehensive walkthrough of the contract issues. And they want it from me. Not Maxwell. Me. An email lands in my inbox that afternoon, sent by the board chair herself. "Can you prepare a detailed timeline and explanation of the compliance concerns raised by our legal team? We'd like your perspective and professional analysis. We're scheduling a meeting for Monday." Maxwell isn't invited to that meeting. This is a significant shift. The board has realized that someone in this company actually understands the deal at a deep level. And it's not the guy in charge. Monday morning, I walk into the boardroom with a folder. My heart is pounding, but my face is calm. I've prepared for this. I know exactly what I'm going to say. Inside the folder, every email, every dated flag, every moment I warned Maxwell about Section 14B. Every moment he ignored me, dismissed me, or told me not to worry about it. Printed out. Highlighted. Chronological. I show the vacation approval email from Maxwell himself. Dated 6 months prior. Approved. "Enjoy your well-deserved break, Jasmine." I show the overlap where Tucker was introduced while I was supposed to be unreachable. The calendar entries. The meetings scheduled while my auto-reply was active. I show the emails where Maxwell told me to stop confusing the client. I show the compliance memo that uses my exact language. The warnings I documented, the risks I identified, the solutions I proposed. I show the email where Maxwell told me my analysis of the loophole was premature and overly cautious. I show my response, professional and measured, recommending we address it anyway. I show his reply. "Let's table this for now." I don't say the words. I let the timeline speak for itself. I let the emails contradict him. I let the dates prove the narrative. One board member's face goes pale as they review the documents. They're reading through the stack and I can see the moment it clicks. The moment they understand that someone in this company knew exactly what was coming and tried to prevent it. Another board member, an older woman in a charcoal suit, looks directly at Maxwell. She doesn't say anything. She just looks at him. Someone whispers, "Liability." Then Margaret asks me directly, "Jasmine, in your professional opinion, could the Mercer situation have been prevented?" Pause. Because this is the moment where I could destroy him completely. This is where I could say yes, absolutely, if you had listened to me, if you had acted on my warnings, if you hadn't replaced me trying to hide from accountability. Instead, I say, if the compliance recommendations had been addressed in the timeline I originally proposed, yes. The client would have had the documentation they needed. The regulatory exposure would have been mitigated. The deal would have proceeded. The silence that follows is heavier than any accusation I could make. It's the sound of consequences becoming real. It's the sound of a career ending. Maxwell tries to control the narrative immediately. He sends a company-wide email about miscommunication and how he was just trying to improve efficiency and provide growth opportunities for junior staff. He frames the entire situation as good intentions that got misunderstood. But the board has already requested his emails. All of them. From the past 6 months. And they show the opposite story. Show a man who intentionally sidelined his best employee, replaced her with someone unqualified, and then ignored warnings that became reality. Receipts speak louder than any narrative he could construct. His emails contradict everything he's saying now. Mercer sends formal notice on Wednesday morning. "We are pausing funding pending comprehensive contract remediation. We cannot move forward until the verification gap is resolved and our legal team approves the implementation." The deal isn't dead yet. But it's bleeding out. Everyone knows why. The public confidence in the company's competence has shattered. Investors are watching. Legal is watching. Dorothy is watching with skepticism that won't go away. Maxwell's career is becoming a case study in how not to manage people and how not to manage clients. Kevin from HR calls me on Thursday. His tone is completely different now. I think we were too hasty in closing your complaint, he says carefully. We'd like to revisit your concerns about the account transition. Apologies start. Hollow ones. Performative ones. But they start. HR isn't protecting me. They're protecting the company. They're trying to create a paper trail showing they took my concerns seriously, in case this goes legal. But I don't care about their apologies anymore. I care about the result. Tucker turns in her resignation on Friday. No 2 weeks notice. She doesn't even give a transition period. It is done. She's sitting at my desk one last time, packing her personal items into a small box. In her exit letter, which she sends to HR, she mentions inadequate training and unclear role definition. That's code for, your boss threw me under the bus to cover his own mistakes. She's also honest about what happened. She explains that she was brought in without proper preparation, that she was set up for failure. The chaos spreads. There's no one running the Mercer account anymore. Maxwell can't do it himself. He never understood it like I did. The company is in freefall. Mercer's CEO sends a final email on Monday morning. I'm at my desk when it arrives. I see it hit the inbox. I see Maxwell's name on the recipient line. I watch it spread through the company like a virus. After careful consideration and extensive review with our legal and financial teams, we've decided to pursue other vendors who can meet our compliance requirements and provide the level of technical expertise and institutional knowledge we require. We appreciate your efforts, but we cannot proceed with Mercer Global Partnership under the current terms and current team structure. Thank you for your time, but we're moving forward in a different direction. Millions of dollars. The largest deal in the company's pipeline this year. The deal that was supposed to secure Maxwell's bonus. The deal that was supposed to prove he was a visionary. The deal that was supposed to show that my position wasn't necessary. Completely collapsed. And everyone in the company knows exactly why. The email makes it clear. Current team structure. That's the killing blow. That's Dorothy saying, you don't have the right people. You lost me. And you proved you can't replace me. I hear Maxwell's door slam. Then it opens again. Then it slams again. People whisper. The office goes quiet except for the sound of nervous typing. Someone must answer for this. And everyone is looking at Maxwell. But they're also looking at me. Not with blame. With something else. With recognition that I was right all along. Within an hour, Margaret calls an emergency leadership meeting. Within 2 hours, Maxwell is in the HR office. Within 3 hours, security is walking him out with a box of his personal items. The company is in triage mode. Damage control. How do we recover from this? But they all know the truth. And the truth is sitting at her desk, working quietly, not saying a word. The truth is that some people are replaceable. And some aren't. 2 weeks later, Maxwell is terminated. The company releases a statement. Strategic reorganization. Leadership restructure to refocus our client management practices and ensure operational excellence. Translation. They fired him to contain the damage. They're hoping no one outside the company notices. But the reason is clear to everyone who was paying attention. Maxwell mismanaged a critical account. He sidelined his most capable employee. He ignored compliance warnings. He replaced someone he should have valued. And he destroyed millions of dollars in revenue. Now people look at me differently. Not with pity. Not with sympathy. With recognition. I was right all along. And they finally see it. The interim CEO, Margaret, calls me into her office on a Wednesday. We'd like to offer you Maxwell's position, she says. Her voice is sincere. Her tone is respectful. Reporting directly to the board. Authority over all major client relationships. Complete autonomy on staffing decisions. She slides a paper across the desk. It's substantial. More money than I expected. Stock options. Executive title. The kind of offer that would have made me cry a month ago. I look at the offer and feel something unexpected. Not triumph. Not satisfaction. Not even joy. Just exhaustion and clarity. I don't say yes immediately. I tell her I need to think about it. Because this moment is about more than just accepting a title. I call Margaret back 3 days later. I've spent those 3 days thinking. Really thinking. Not about revenge or vindication or how good this will feel. Just thinking about what I actually want. I'll take the position, I tell her. But I want to be clear about something. I didn't do anything to bring Maxwell down. I didn't expose him publicly. I didn't sabotage him. I didn't even answer his clients' questions when I could have. There's a pause on the other end. The kind of pause that says she's processing. That she's understanding that I'm not celebrating. That I'm being honest about something deeper. I know, she says quietly. I just stopped helping him cover up his own mistakes. I continue. I got out of the way and let him learn what happens when you replace someone without understanding your dependency on them. I let him face the consequences of his own choices. I didn't sabotage. I just withdrew my support. I stopped making him look competent. The most powerful thing I did was nothing at all. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't create drama. I didn't expose anyone publicly. I didn't even fight back in the traditional sense. I just answered one less email. I let one question go unanswered. I gave the illusion of cooperation while withdrawing the invisible support that was actually holding everything together. The systems integration. The relationship maintenance. The problem solving. The knowledge transfer that prevented crises. When all of that disappeared, everything collapsed under its own weight. And when people don't understand what someone's worth until they're gone, sometimes they have to learn it the hard way. The market teaches lessons that conversations never could. Got promoted. Maxwell lost his job. The company lost millions. The client moved to a competitor. Tucker found a better position at another firm where she was actually trained properly. Dorothy probably recommended them to everyone she knows. But the real lesson isn't mine to celebrate. It's theirs to live with forever. When you replace someone without understanding your dependency on them, you're not modernizing. You're not improving. You're not being strategic. You're building a house of cards and hoping no one notices when the foundation isn't there. Noticed. Clients noticed. The market noticed. You just have to let them see it for themselves. You have to have the patience to watch them figure it out. You have to trust that competence speaks louder than complaints ever could. And that's what I did. I'm promoted now. But I'm not celebrating Maxwell's fall. I'm building something better. Something where people aren't replaceable because they're actually valued. Where systems are documented because they matter. Where the person who knows the most gets recognized, not pushed out. That's the real victory. Not that he lost his job. But that I'm never working for someone like that again.